Pam Bondi told the world she was going to release the Epstein files. So what she did is she had social media influencers hold a binder of files that are even more redacted than what the FBI already released previously. One of those influencers, which she gave a binder to, famously wore a Free Ghislaine shirt, which just saying that upset people is a massive understatement. Now, Pam Bondi is saying that some information in the Epstein files will need to be redacted due to national security concerns, which is absolutely ridiculous. She is acting like the President of the United States is implicated or something. Now, the FBI was also supposed to release files related to the murder of Seth Rich, and it even had a date, March 10th. That's something conservatives on social media have been calling for years, and it's an easy win for the Trump DOJ, except Pam Bondi also put a stop to the release of the Seth Rich files. But Pam Bondi also appeared on Fox Business tonight to let people know that she is working to defend DOJ against the courts because they keep ruling against him. She expects the Supreme Court to step in and greenlight all of Elon's actions because you can't let the real president not rule as a king after all. Now, that same Supreme Court that she is banking on, if you missed it, just ruled 5-4 to weaken the rules against dumping raw sewage into the water supply, undermining the 1972 Clean Water Act. Now, you might be thinking, he's got to be making that up, because who is going to allow someone to lessen the restrictions against raw sewage in clean water? Look it up. Supreme Court. But don't let that distract you from the great things being said and done by others in this administration. All right? For example, Trump's ex-lawyer, now working as a consultant, I believe, Alina Habba, was asked by a reporter about veterans losing their jobs in the federal government. This is an easy answer because Donald Trump, he loves the veterans. MAGA loves the veterans. It's going to be a layup. Her response was, perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this moment. Perhaps veterans are not fit to have a job. Well, okay, that's bad. That's bad. But America is finally respected again after the tariffs. Justin Trudeau, for example, when talking about the tariffs, called it a very dumb thing to do. And I hope you check all of the things I said. I hope you do. Especially if you don't agree with me. I hope you look it up. Because it's all true. This is all things that have happened. And now, here we are, sitting with all these problems. The stock market's down. We're sitting on massive tariffs. He's threatening more tariffs. His people in the Trump administration have openly threatened more tariffs. And what's Trump doing? He sent out a fundraiser email. Didn't MAGA donate enough out of their 401ks to your plot when you destroyed the stock market? Wasn't that enough? And he's going to be doing his messaging to the joint Congress. I probably won't watch tonight if I'm being honest, so don't expect a video from me. I expect, if I'm going to guess, they will complain that Democrats are being rude, even though previously people like Marjorie Taylor Greene were just screaming from the sidelines whenever Joe Biden did it. Suddenly, any peep out of a Democrat will be completely and utterly wrong. I fully expect him to maybe say, we're going to start, I'm going to say it, I fully expect, not maybe, I expect him to talk about Russia and loosening sanctions, and somehow he thinks, well, he's going to claim, he actually thinks he's going to claim that that's going to help pricing somewhere. I expect that to be thrown in. Maybe some more threats against people that may protest against him. expect that to be thrown in. Maybe we'll go back to the old Trump Pam Bondi meetings. If you haven't seen any of the old meetings between them, it's quite fun. For example, stalkers. Pam Bondi and Trump were in agreement that if you're accused of stalking, you should just lose your right to a gun very easily. Take the gun and look into it later. Even if you don't have an order, the gun should be taken and prevent you from getting a new one. There's talk of that. There's videos of that you can find online. There's a lot of stuff with Pam Bondi, including, the fact that she was the Attorney General of Florida while Epstein was doing a lot of what he was doing, and somehow she didn't stop it. I don't think she's long for the Trump administration. I'm going to put it that way. Oh, speaking of Florida Attorney Generals, well, Pam Bondi might not have done anything against Epstein. The current Attorney General in Florida is announcing they are doing an investigation into the Tate brothers. The ones that are believed to have been let back into the United States due to pressure from the Trump administration. The same one that's still not releasing the Epstein files. Yeah. And that's expected, right? Because Florida, as I called it, Ron DeSantis has been calling out Byron Donalds and pushing his wife to be the governor because that is essentially Ron DeSantis staying governor. It's just a different name on the plaque. And they're going to try to do it, it seems, by going after people like the Tate brothers and separating themselves as doing better than Trump's picks even. Try to out-Trump Trump. So I expect that's going to blow up because Trump, of course, is going to view that as an affront to him. And we have massive cuts to things like the National Weather Service. I expect that we already know there's cuts to FEMA, and I expect there'll be issues with natural disasters now that there's so much cut out of the federal government. And I expect Florida is going to truly pay a cost for that. And you might be wondering, well, with all these court cases that the U.S. government's in, how is that working out with the lack of staff? Well, they've actually tried to use that as like a defense in court for why things are so slow. And the judge was basically just like, maybe you should hire more staff then. Which is why they're now looking at the Supreme Court to back them because it's not going well in most of the courts. Either they are losing with a temporary order or they aren't getting that temporary order, but that doesn't mean they're going to win the case, and it's not looking good. So they're trying to jump ahead of things and get the Supreme Court, which, hey, the Supreme Court decided you need more sewage in your water. So probably going to side with Trump.